shooting scenes and stuff? Like, did it get like sweaty or something?
Sweaty is the least. I mean, that was the least of my concerns in that suit, but the thing that I got the most. So the suit was built for my body, so it fits beautifully. But it is a one piece. It's like a jumpsuit. So I try to explain this because everyone's like, is it heavy? And I'm like, no, it probably weighs like, I don't know, all in all, maybe 10 pounds, like the whole thing, even with like the pack and everything on. But the problem is, because you're in this jumpsuit under everything, what it feels like is if you had a sweatshirt, like a weighted sweatshirt on, and the sweatshirt had bungee cords on it, and the bungee cords wrapped under your feet, so they were holding you down. Oh. And so it's like everything's pulling down on you, but then you need to look like you're standing up straight, so you're like pulling against this suit to like make your shoulders go back. And so it's pulling down on your shoulders the whole day. It's the weirdest feeling. I can't even really explain it. But I developed like a cyst in my shoulder that had to be drained halfway through the music. All this crazy stuff happens. But it doesn't feel that heavy. I think the hardest part of wearing the suit is figuring out how to go to the bathroom. Because once you put it all back on, the fastest we got it was I can get out of it in like 3 minutes and into it in about 5. So I need 10 minutes to like go to the bathroom. And so between season 2 and season 3, they gave me a zipper. It did not work. So thankfully I have 2 suits. Because I tried it once. They gave me this thing called a shiwi or something. So here I am with this thing unzipped, trying to like get the shiwi into position, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, this is my life. What happened? So then I was like, well, the shiwi doesn't work because if you have to pee really bad, you fill it up really quick. And then I'm like halfway through trying to figure out how to abandon the shiwi. What is happening? I was like, I just need a diaper. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. So I never used it again. So then. The gift that keeps on giving. Oh my gosh, but thank you. So they learned on Ahsoka, I went on set, and they weren't supposed to show me that they had suits that were cut in half because they learned from me what not to do. So I was so jealous of everybody on Ahsoka because they had 2 pieces.
Is there any way they can, I don't want to say retrofit, but is your costume, it is locked and it will never change?
It will never, I just don't think it'll ever change. I keep trying to get them to like put a zipper or like Velcro.
Yeah, like, oh look, I'm wearing a belt now. And it's hiding the zipper?
Yeah, well there is a belt. There's already a belt. It's like a built-in cover for a zipper.
I don't have a degree in costume design, but it seems like perhaps that's an opportunity.
I should just pee on it one more time. There are multiple ways to skin a cat. Thank you.
You have your Clone Wars cast family, your Rebels, and now Mandalorian. Do you have any unique stories that you've had with them over the years?
Oh gosh. Oh my lord. So I had never met anybody from Clone Wars and Rebels until I started seeing them at conventions. So I love seeing them. Every time we're at a convention together, I always like, gosh, because they're so talented, and they had the bulk of the work in Clone Wars. But, the one that I love to see, again, I just keep bringing up Sam Witwer because he and I worked on Battlestar together. So I've known Sam for years. And it's just, I don't know, it's just, I'm just so excited to see Ahsoka. I'm so excited to see Ahsoka. I'm so excited to see some more of those characters like ripped out of the animated show. And I just can't wait to see what it's going to be like. So much fun.
All of us.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello. I was wondering, what is it like working with Pedro Pascal?
Pedro's wonderful. And he's super handsome. The first time, not that that's like his best quality, but it's, he's wonderful. The first time that I worked with Pedro, he like pulled me into his trailer, like before we were on set. Not in a weird way. I shouldn't say pulled, it sounds bad. It'll be all over headlines. He politely asked me to come into his room because he wanted to have a conversation. And he sat me down and he's like, so, talk to me about Battlestar Galactica. It's his favorite show. He's got great taste. He's got great taste. And so we like bonded over that. But he's just so much fun. He's so lighthearted and he's so talented and he's just wonderful to be around.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you and Pedro Pascal see through the helmets when you're strutting your stuff and performing action scenes? And how long does it take to practice the choreography for the stunt work and the fight scenes?
Absolutely. So I have a much easier job than the guys do on the show because not only does my helmet have a fan in it, which is amazing, and so I can leave it on much longer than they do. They take their helmets off and they're like drenched in sweat. I take mine off and I'm like, I don't know why you guys are so hot. But because the eyes, that tilt in of the eyes on Beau's helmet, I have vision from the bottom. So I can actually see my feet where the guys can't. That being said, nobody else's helmet locks in except for mine. So I have plates that go underneath my helmet that are magnets. So my helmet, once it's on, it doesn't come off. I can take it off. Let's be honest, I can take it off. But the guys have like airflow from the bottom, which is I think why I got a fan. So it's, and then as far as the choreography is concerned, I will not take credit for my phenomenal stunt department. They're amazing. There were no less than 4 other women in my suit this year. And that is the crazy thing about not only my character, but also Pedro and Mando's character, is it takes so many people to make these characters work. And the bulk of my character, the stunt work, landed on Joanna Bennett this year, who is a phenomenal stunt woman. I mean, phenomenal. That scene in episode 2, where my character dives into the water to save Mando, it was higher than this stage. And all there was like 1 or 2 mats at the very bottom on the floor, and she sprinted, with the helmet on, mind you, sprinted and dove like you're diving into water, and like dove, and the pads just slid underneath her, and like she went with the pads. It was such a beautiful, perfect, like if anyone's a swimmer, that dive where you stay on top of the water and you just like go for it. She had this beautiful, and she kicked in midair. It was phenomenal. Like watching her do that, I was like, God, it's not me. Like, thank God it's not me. I could draw a map of the injuries I have on my body from all the stunt work I've done over my life. So to have someone else do it is amazing. That being said, I do try to do everything they'll let me do at least once, if not more times than that. And the fight with Moff in the end was so much fun, and it took quite a while to learn that choreography. But it was worth it. It was really fun. So, thank you.
Hi, my question is, in season 3, your character Beau and William and Mandalorian had a lot of scenes where it's just the 2 of you, and almost complete episodes where it's the 2 of you. What was your favorite scene or most emotional scene that you and Pedro Pascal had during the season?
I mean, so the scene between Bo and Mando on the front of the boat is like our Titanic moment. You know, like, like, I'm the queen of the world. Like, I wanted to stand in the front of that boat. It was like begging for me to do that. I think that scene.
Are there any outtakes that where you gave it a shot or no?
There is definitely an outtake where Brendan Wayne grabbed my face and kissed me through the Mando helmet. It was quite funny. Brendan Wayne is one of the men that wear the suit, and it was really fun. But yeah, that scene for me was really, really important because it's that scene where he says that your song is not yet written. That was like, it was so hard to like not cry during that scene. Like, it was just such a sweet moment.
Well, just so you know, I cried. I'm not kidding. At home, I was like, he respects her. Oh, great. Oh my God, I love it. Finally.
I love that you were doing that. I was at home going like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, not respect, but for him, I think respect is
Yeah.
like the highest.
I actually think I agree with you. I agree with you completely. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like shipping them.
Oh, 100%. Mommy and daddy and the baby.
We did have multiple conversations about, like, there's too many children here, so I won't talk about it. But we were having questions about what would happen because of the helmets and everything. Yeah. I mean, it really could have just, that whole scene of the living waters could have been very different. It could have just, should we, shouldn't we? I mean, we could just go back in. It's been a long weekend. I'm super tired, and when I get super tired, I get real funny.
I love it.
So the destruction of the Darksaber in the last episode, it kind of seemed abrupt, and it didn't really make any sense for it to be forgotten about. Do you think that either like an Zelen or Ugnaughts will appear in season 4 and repair it, and for it to make a comeback?
I don't know. So for me, it didn't feel like it. I mean, I feel like it came out of nowhere because if there'd been foreshadowing about it, I think it wouldn't have been as sort of shocking, which it should have been. So I personally feel like, you know, the Mandalorian as a people had almost gotten distracted by the Darksaber. And so for me personally, I do like the idea of them moving forward without the Darksaber, because I think that they had to have a reckoning of what it meant to lead and to walk the way, and I think they realized that it had very little to do with the Darksaber and more to do with about standing shoulder to shoulder and working together as a people. So I love the way that it worked out, but listen, those Ugnaughts are some tricky people. Like, they might be able to figure it out and, like, you know, bring it back. You never know. You never know. Nothing's ever, like, dead in Star Wars. Ever.
Why did you choose Star Wars instead of Star Trek?
Because they were the first ones to offer me a job. I love Star Trek. So my dad raised me showing me all of the science fiction and action movies that he loved. And so I didn't realize that William Shatner was older than me. Like, well, I knew he was older than me, but I didn't realize he was older than me. And so when I was little, I thought I could marry him. I was like obsessed with Kirk, and I was so handsome. And I loved Star Trek. And so when I found out that the show was in reruns, I was really heartbroken. But no, seriously, I honestly would love to be in Star Trek, and I just keep sort of like waiting for the right project to come along, because I would like to go for the trifecta.